Well, it's Monday and got new coffee, but there is a lot to talk about. Sorry I missed last week. I was out with the kiddo doing a football visit. So we're just gonna get right into it because I know it's Monday and everybody's got a lot to do. Hmm, let's talk about total losses. I have seen an uptick online recently and posting of people going over and over about now they don't want to pay my total loss charges at all, or they're only offering to pay half the total loss charges. What do I do? Let me just give you a little background on what's going on. So, for the end of claims last year, reported claim volume. So, if we take that, doesn't necessarily mean repairables, but if we take reported claim volume, total losses continue to rise. They were on like a 3% kind of year over year increase, but the total loss of reported claims was 27%. That's a big jump, and that's a significant jump. To note why that's kind of, we can say cost of parts, cost of labor, frequency of parts, all those things that are driving up car costs. Our total loss ratio, average car values going back down. We had an inflated car rate during COVID. But the insurance organization, so this isn't CCC or isn't some other group within necessarily the collision industry, but the insurance industry anticipates that by 2027, reported losses, so the total loss volume of reported claims will be about 46%. And that's pretty significant. So you're basically telling, from an insurer perspective, half of all of the reported claims that we're going to get will be total losses. For the longest time, total losses were maybe 12, 13% of your reported claims. And so they were they were important. Don't get me wrong. Total losses were always something that you paid attention to on cycle time, severity, et cetera. But they weren't necessarily like one of the biggest elephants in the room. As that total loss rate continues to rise and more percent of claims become total losses, it is an area in which severity or cost containment can be influenced, and it can be influenced to a greater degree than what repairables are. So you're seeing insurers kind of put a lot of attention on total losses, mostly because they're taking advantage of repairers not being ready for this. So many repairers out there still working on directions to pay, authorization to repair forms. They do not have services contracts. They do not understand what you can and you can't charge. Kind of the myth is you can charge whatever you want in the industry. It's your business. You kind of can't. But if you are going to charge for things, then certain things have to be set up by having contracts and services and rates and explanations for why you have these things. But pay attention. Every time you go online and you see somebody post about an insurer not wanting to pay the full bill or whatever, there's always three or four, like I call them idiots, that'll come in there and go, you should just settle. I mean, like, it's not like you were fixing the car, it was just parked outside. These aren't insurance adjusters coming in there and telling you should settle. This is other body shops. For you DRPs, if you're handling total losses for free and you're letting them sit on your lot with no storage or whatever, pay attention. So if you look at this as a repairer, think of about half of the repairables you fixed last year disappearing by 2027. In other words, you're going to have less repairables in the market. These are cars you most likely won't see that we hope the early tow programs. I think this is where artificial intelligence will really help insurers, is the identification of those totals and getting them pulled out before they start bogging down shops. If you think about how long a total loss cycle time is right now, it's well over 30 days. Having all of those cars, suddenly this influx of cars wanting to be on your lot and stored and all that, that's money. If you're losing that revenue because half of those cars that you currently list as repairables disappear and now become total losses, what do you do when that revenue disappears if you don't have a system for charging and getting paid for those? Couple of years ago, the average total loss was $700 to an insurer. Right now, it's about $2,500. So them coming in and telling you we don't want to pay for that, or we're only going to offer you half of that, or whatever, is their way of reducing severity on something that they know is going to become a very important part of their business. And having a system for that and controlling cost containment around that is very important for them and their profitability. The flip of that is your ability as a repairer to charge for total losses and have a healthy profit on that will become your kind of foundation for whether you're going to have a business going forward. So make sure your paperwork is in order, and then understand that this mentality we have where we can't charge the customer, you're going to have to let that go. The insurers are well aware of your fear of charging the customer. They're They're well aware of your lack of paperwork. And so they're pushing the buttons and they're putting all that back on you and they're telling you to charge the customer because they know you won't. And right now you're telling yourself, oh, it's just a couple of total losses, or it's just a couple thousand off of a total loss bill. Eventually that will become more and more and more of your money. And so you're going to have to call the bluff, so to speak, until you actually charge it. There's a case to be made that says that the insurer doesn't really owe it. So some thoughts that we may want to consider with total losses. If you haven't taken, I've got a total loss class. If you haven't taken that total loss class, then get on the website. You can always email Melanie when it talks about really the paperwork that goes with total losses. Making up a total loss invoice is easy. Copart can call us and we can go, yeah, $3,000 to pick it up. But there's some paperwork and some legal stuff that you need to do to get that in order. But please pay attention. The insurers are on total losses now for a reason. So you should be on total losses. Very careful. All right. Next thing I've gotten asked a lot over the last couple of weeks is on photographs. Probably, if we go back, the best class I ever saw taught, or probably the best person I ever saw teach photography was Roger Cada at State Farm and Bob Medved. In fact, they made a high-tech toolbox video for you guys that have been around a long, long time, specifically on photography. And there's a lot said. You'll go to estimating classes and people will talk about here's how the photos you should take, and here's how you should mark on cars, and here's what you should do. And then I'll just let you know, because I'm getting this all the time. From the insurance industry perspective, we studied this, and yeah, it's all bullshit. Right now, the average open photos in an estimate review is 5. If you're attaching any more than 5 photos on an estimate review, odds are they're not even getting opened and looked at. And the reason for that, it's science. It has nothing to do with, did you take good pictures? Are they clear, not blurry? Did you draw on them? Did you use a board? Did you use whatever? I have all those tools. I will teach you a class on that. And I've got a couple videos on YouTube on photography. If you come to our estimating class, I'll spend about 20 minutes on photography for collision repair. But bottom line, psychology comes into play in the way that the brain perceives information. Human beings are always faced with cognitive overload. There's always too many sources of information for us to consume. This also goes for attaching repair procedures. Stop freaking doing that too. The adjusters aren't opening it. They're not reading it. They're not looking at it. And all it is it's frustrating you because you think you have supplied a well-documented file, and then you have no idea, or you're angry when you get back at something less. But the principles of cognitive overload and the way the brain processes information is we will go to and we will gravitate to things that we are comfortable with and understand. What that means is when an adjuster today, who isn't really trained, most of them have a week on a job, they can't change a flat tire, they can barely name the parts of a car. When they open a file, all they're really interested in are the overview pictures. So if we take a look at that front of that Chevy truck, I understand that. I know what that is. And so because I know what that is, that's what I'm going to open and look at. If we look at the picture of the suspension on that Porsche, I would ask how many of you knew what you're looking at and knew it was a Porsche and knew, whatever. They don't know that. So you think you're giving them close-ups and you're really documenting your file and proving what you need. And then you're mad when you don't get on your estimate because they don't even know what that is. Why would I look at something I don't understand? And just know that limit the photos that you submit with your estimates. Try to do overview photos and then wait for someone to ask you for more. Right. If I ask you for better documentation, if I go, I can't pay for this unless you can give me a picture of that, then because I'm serving up what you've asked for, the brain isn't overwhelmed or fearful of opening and looking at that content. So it's just pure science. I always tell people that we can talk about what we want all day long. We can talk about these adjusters don't know what they're doing, and they don't. It's not their fault. They're not getting trained. They're basically hired. They're set after about 2 weeks. They're on the phone completely by themselves and they are overwhelmed. You have no idea how hard it is to be an adjuster. Worst job I ever had in my life. And because of that, they're just not going to look at it. So all this documenting you're doing is just in overload. So you might as well wait and serve it up slowly. So the more you wait and kind of have an ask and reply sort of approach to it. They ask for more documentation. You give them just what they ask for. You wait, you give them just what they, that allows them to digest that information and address the specific issues on the estimate or supplement or whatever you're trying to do. So stop overwhelming people and stop going to estimating classes where there's some idiot in the front of the classroom telling you to overwhelm people, right? Like you wouldn't like it if I did it to you. If I walked in your shop and dropped a 300-page claims manual on your desk about claims law and whatever, you would tell me you don't care. Your job is to fix a car. So same thing, just be cognizant of that. You don't like it, stop doing it to other people. Stop rewarding people that are teaching you things that don't work, right? Like just think about a human being and what you would want if you were a human being in that same situation. Okay. I shouldn't have to say this, but it is 2024. These posts keep popping up. This post particularly, glue pulling is so advanced. I don't know why anybody's doing anything other than that these days, but it's just science, right? It's the same with photos. There's science. Your opinion really doesn't friggin' matter, or your experience of your opinion doesn't matter. It's science is science. So I got tired of hearing these, like, should I disconnect the battery? Should I use a surge protector? And so I've asked Jason and Larry, and they have met with some OEs and they've met with some engineers. And so you're going to see a class coming soon where we actually just talk about, why does Toyota say 14 inches within a weld zone? Anything that's electronic should be removed, right? Why is that? And then that's way away from the battery. So why is that? So they're going to break that down and kind of explain it, hopefully once and for all, and we'll stop seeing these posts happen out there. All right, next thing, big announcement, just so that you can get this on the books. I will eventually have this up on the website. We are launching Claim School, and it will be February 3rd through the 7th. It is 1 week. We're taking 3 weeks of what should have been a claim school and putting it into a week. Mark Olson will be joining me, and so will Larry. Mark and Larry have probably the two of the most profitable and well-known independent adjuster businesses in the country. And probably the only other person I could add to that would add any value would be Robert McDormand out of Texas. But these guys bill and make millions a year being independent adjusters. But if you want to be an independent adjuster, you want to start your own IA business, whether you want to work for insurers or you want to be a complete independent, whether you think you want to be a claims adjuster and go work at an insurance company, or whether you're a body shop and you just want to get more information, this is going to be, there will be nothing else like this that will ever be offered. We are limited to 20 seats, so 20 live human bodies can join us in Little Rock, Arkansas for this class. That's our classroom and then shop instruction. But you can sign up for an online version, and that is unlimited seats. What are we going to cover? We're going to cover claims processes and processing, how it works. We're going to cover claims law. We're going to learn how to read policies. We will be dissecting the Progressive, Allstate, and Erie automotive policies. So we will be going through those 3 policies. We'll teach you how to start up and operate an independent adjusting business, how to market an independent adjustment business and find your clients, how to conduct vehicle inspections. So if you are going to be an adjuster, whether for somebody looking at collision, or you're going to be working for a consumer that's hired you as a third party, how do you actually look at a car? And what are the differences between looking at it this way than you would if you were just trying to write an estimate for damage like a body shop? We will cover RTAs in depth, how RTAs are not only just handled, but how they're documented. There's a lot of paperwork. I always tell people, if you're going to be an independent adjuster, you're probably not on the file because things are going well. So the possibility of litigation around what you do is way higher than even just the normal adjuster working for an insurance company. So we're going to teach that documentation process and how you prepare for those. We will teach post-repair inspections. I believe every shop going forward is going to have to start doing these. We don't get to be friends with the shops in the market that are trying to put us out of business. That's not how this works. So if you have a bad actor in the market, DRP, butchering cars, whatever that is, nobody knows until it's brought out. So I think post-repair inspections are going to be huge. We will have a live case study. It is a case. It's settled for over $300,000. The vehicle is here. And it is in the same exact condition as it was when it was brought in for the post-repair inspection. And we will be going back through that. So we have the whole file. We have this thing did not end up trial. It's settled. but Larry's got everything on it from initial inspection findings, reporting. We had a little bit of testimony, that when this settled, it settled without a non-disclosure agreement, which was part of the conditions of settlement so that we could talk about this one. But we're gonna let you go hands-on with it. We're gonna let you inspect the car. We're gonna let you tell us what you think you found wrong. We'll compare it, but you're really gonna learn how you actually build a post-repair inspection report, present it to a consumer, and then present it to the person that actually didn't repair the car correctly, or the insurance company. We'll go over all of that. We will talk about forensic investigations. Right now, it's about $300,000 in revenue to the guys of just that one little category of operating an independent adjuster business. So we'll go over forensic investigations, reading black box data, all that kind of stuff that's there. And then we will finish it with court reporting and testimony. Like I said, if you're on this, or if you're being an independent adjuster, odds are you were hired because something has gone wrong, not because something has gone right. And the likelihood of litigation is high, and you may have to give some sort of expert testimony. Your report may have to be read into court and submitted. You may be cross-examined over that report. We saw a story, is it earlier this year or is it last year, where a body shop person got deposed, and it was tragic. And so there's an art to giving testimony and being deposed. So we're going to go over that. We're still working on an attorney that we would like to have in class that actually is going to depose one person from class live on their post-repair inspection that they do on that car. So it'll all kind of come together and make sense for everybody, but we don't know if it's going to work with her calendar to get in. And if not, I will just have a local attorney come in and do the deposition so everybody can get kind of a feel for that. And we'll have Larry and Mark coaching people through it. I think those guys have been in court more than anybody I know. Half of my court experience has been with Larry. So, I mean, like, it's going to be a great class. I'm really excited about it. And then after that's over, we'll also have a support group, but, Mark and Larry will be, if you graduate from that class, so to speak, and you want to start an IA business, or you already have one, then when the class is over, Mark and Larry will be your business coaches. And so you'll have access to them 24/7, 365. It's almost like those guys become part of your business or employees within your business, but you'll always have that in the background behind you. So I think this is very, very important. I'll be linking those businesses. We'll be doing the networking of their websites. If you look at all the traffic Collision Hub gets, our ability to take that and network it will make those shops come up more in searches. Our goal is to be, when any of these words, whether it's ACVs, RTAs, or whatever, are entered by a consumer looking for help, by using our SEO that already exists for 20 years within the internet, we'll be able to really direct people to that. So very excited about that. If you have questions, or if you want to pre-sign up, like I said, I don't have all that stuff ready on the website yet for you to like buy your seat and swipe your card. But if you think you want in, you can email Melanie. It's just melanie@collisionhub.com. She will get you on the wait list for that class. Again, we are limited just because my conference room is small. I can only have 20 people in the classroom. And then we will have unlimited online. The only thing, you're going to get to watch everything online. You just won't be hands-on with the car. So when we do the post-repair inspection, you'll really lose that ability to go hands-on. You will get us when we go back out with the class to show them what we would have done to inspect the car and what we found. So you'll watch us inspect it, but you just won't get that hands-on experience for yourself. All right. Happy Monday. Hope it's a great week. If you need us, well, we're pretty easy to find. If you want to contact us directly, or if you just want to find me ranting and raving somewhere online on somebody else's post on social media. But if you need me, please let me know, and have a great week. Thanks.